Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inget Zoom Series 8. Today, our guest is Dr. Tony Gurr. I was going to introduce him as a funny, handsome, attractive, and charismatic ELT figure, but he told me that he's totally against the idea of objectifying men, and he doesn't want to be certified for his physique, but for his accomplishments in our field. All jokes aside, Tony is not only one of the best, greatest trainers in ELT, but also a great friend. He runs his own company called Momentum Learning, Teaching and Assessment Solutions, and he is stationed in Ankara right now. His title today is, Can we really motivate students in our remote classes? Or should we kill ourselves now? Thank you very much, Tony, for accepting to be our guest. I know that it's going to be a fun session. Guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to write in the chat box. If they're short and Tony notices them, he will definitely answer them. But if they're long, you need to wait till the end of the session. Tony, the screen is yours. Say, oh my God, okay.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm being super careful with Corona. Because, what was it? We went from 3,000 new cases to more than 30,000 new cases in a week. Allah, how did that happen? Yeah, but I've calculated things. If I sit back 1 meter and you all sit back 1 meter, we're probably pretty safe, and I can take this off because I can't breathe and I can't wear my glasses. Okay, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I was just having a quick look at names. I was really happy to see old friends, people I knew when I was here. I think a lot of you know that I moved to Istanbul for a while. I left, my family village of Ankara and went to big, bad Istanbul to make my fortune. I didn't make my fortune, and my wife and I got so depressed with Istanbul traffic, we came back. Now, when did we come back? We came back on the 10th of March. Now, what happened the week afterwards? Yani, I have been locked in my house for 9 months. I have to be very careful because I've got a pre-existing condition. And my pre-existing condition is I'm terrified of dying. So I just don't go out. Death scares me. Anyway, I'm here, but I haven't been able to see anybody. Even Aidan, we promised each other we'd get together for a coffee, but it's been 9-10 months, and I haven't been able to see her. I mean, we've sort of spoken a little bit on Zoom and WhatsApp, but that's about it. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got the welcome from Aidan Hocam. You've had my welcome. But what I thought is we can jump into the session, and we'll sort of get moving on that. Yoksa, you will be here until midnight, and your husbands and wives and children will just hate me. That's what happens. Yeah. What I will say, let me share my screen with you again. Yeah, I'm going to share this one. As Aidan Hocam pointed out, we had the original title, but as I worked on it, I thought, okay, yeah, that's actually more important, because most of us have been through what I call actually this period of emergency remote teaching, because it was an emergency when it started. It was certainly an emergency for most of us. Yeah. And we'll be sort of looking at that in terms of general ideas about motivation, and touching a little bit later on the role of technology in this as well, because it's quite a big part of what we've been doing in our remote classes. Now, as you saw at the beginning with the cover sheet, feel free to interrupt me with any quick questions as we go through. You can use the chat and just say, Tony, quick question, you know, that's all. And if I miss you, Aydan Hocam will sort of see it and we can answer any quick questions. If you've got a bigger question that maybe we can save until the end of the session, we'll have time for a Q&A session at the end. Just flag that to Aydan Hocam. Say, Aydan Hocam, this is a Q&A question. Can you save it? And then we'll sort of pull those together. Yeah. Another reminder, for those of you who have not met me before, don't worry, you know, you have lost nothing. This is me, and I'll give you my email addresses in case something comes up. You know, if you want to get in touch with me, or if we don't have time to finish everything, feel free to send me an email. What I'm going to do with my slides, my PowerPoint slides, I will send a copy to Aydan, and she will circulate them to everybody who came along to the session. Maybe before or at the same time as she publishes the video. Yeah, of course, I get to look at the video first, and if I don't look handsome enough, I'm gonna ban it. I'm gonna censor it. I'll get my daughter to use Photoshop and make me look thin. All right, so that's my email address. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're gonna have a look at motivation. Yeah, and that's our big thing. But before I start jumping in and talking, what I thought would be good for us, yeah, is if we do a little bit of polling, Zamana. Yeah. Now, a lot of you will be familiar with Zoom. Yes, just nod or give me a thumbs up if you know. Yeah, I can see a couple of heads going. All right. And within Zoom, you can actually organize little polls, mini polls, that you can then give to your students, and students answer them, and you can get statistics from them, and you can talk about the results in terms of what students feel, maybe as a warmer or other things. Yeah. So we're going to be doing one of these. My poll has 5 simple questions. They're all multiple choice questions with 4 options. That's it. You can choose A, B, C, D. Now, all I will say is just choose the option that reflects your beliefs and your feelings. That's what I'm interested in. Not what you think are facts, just what you believe about motivation. Do be a little bit careful, because I'm very nasty. The options are not always in the same order, you know, so you got to read the questions a little bit careful, because again, yeah, I want to make sure I can really see what your feelings are with some of those questions. Yeah. Okay, are we ready? Yeah. Let's pull up the survey. Let's pull up the poll. Okay, there you go. So you can see number 2 is question 1. Yeah, just have a quick read and choose the one that is most accurate for you. Now, we've got nearly 100 of us, 98 people there, so we can see who's voted. Yeah. Okay. Now just make your choice. Question number 1 starts at number 2, remember? Okay, good. They're starting to come in. Okay. Oh, there we go. Good. Yeah, keep going. That's it. I want this to be an exercise in democracy. The more people that vote, the more we can say our system is democratic. Because if we look in most countries, you know, less than 50% of people often vote. Yeah. Okay, come on. Yeah, we've had 7% of people, 8%. Heidi, come on. Mm-hmm. It is your democratic duty to vote. Go. Just be as honest as you can be. I can't see your answers, don't worry. Yeah, I don't know who is answering which question, and neither does Aidan. Okay, good. We're up to 30%. 13%, sorry, 14%. Wallahi billahi, if this was in America, Donald Trump would already be complaining, taking it to the Supreme Court.
Tony, people keep saying that I cannot choose any options.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, look, if you can't choose any options, don't worry. Yeah. We're going to look at the questions a little bit later, and you can see all of the questions, and maybe we can discuss a few of them. Just as many people who can vote as is possible. Sometimes that happens, you know, the technology lets us down a little bit. Maybe you haven't got a script that they need, yeah, or vice versa. Okay. All right, we've got 23% of you now. Okay, let's get a few more votes in there. I'm sorry, if we only have 20% of people voting, I wouldn't accept the president. I want to see I want to see more people voting. Come on, a few more.
People still say they cannot submit the answers, they cannot choose anything.
Ojam, how many people are saying this?
Oh, many. I cannot even count.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we've got 30% there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's make an executive decision. Bosh fair to the survey. Let's end the poll. Come on, we have to be pragmatic here. You know, if something doesn't work, yeah, we don't have to stick to it. You know, it's the same with a lesson plan, isn't it? If it's not working, you know, do something else. Yeah. All right. Now, remember what I was actually saying to you was just be as honest as you can. That's all. Now, let's just have a quick look. I'm going to stop sharing there. Get rid of it again. Okay. All right. And there was number 1 there, and really what we were seeing is that it should be a key or a central responsibility for all teachers to keep motivation high. Yeah. Well, what we found is a lot of people believe this. They will sort of say, it's my job to motivate my students. Yeah. Now, the key with that one it should be. Yeah. All right. And keep student motivation high. Now, remember, there are no correct answers for this, apart from mine. And look at the answer I have chosen. I totally disagree with this. Totally. Now, does anybody want to fight with me? If we've got any principals or directors in the audience, I'm sure they'll want to fight with me. Yeah, saçmalama Tony. Of course it's a responsibility. Yemezler. I totally disagree. Question number 2 was another one. Problems with student motivation levels seem to have got worse since we began emergency remote teaching. Danny, we've always had motivation problems, especially in high school and hazırlık. We know that, yeah? But the idea with this one is it's got worse, okay? How do most people feel about that? True or false? Yeah? If you think it's true, just give me a thumbs up. Let me see some thumbs. Okay. Oh God, Dan, that's a big thumb. Yeah. Yeah, it was very close to the camera. You almost had my eye out. Yeah. Okay, a few of you were saying that. Yeah. With that one, I kind of went, I agree. I don't totally agree, because I think some teachers and some students have kind of got it right. But the majority of people, they have had a problem. It's been getting worse. Yeah. Okay. Third question. Teachers can effectively motivate their students to study more by giving regular tests and quizzes. Now, I didn't just make up this quiz. Yeah. I actually based this on people saying things to me, you know, and when I asked teachers or a school, I was like, why do you have so many quizzes? And they say, well, it's to motivate the students to study. And I go, gerçekten mi? Yeah. Quizzes and tests do not motivate students. They don't. It's a total myth. Yeah. Yeah. Because in a way, you know, tests and quizzes make us quite nervous. And when we're nervous, we don't perform as well. You know, so building your curriculum or the motivational factors of your curriculum behind quizzes and tests, kusura bakmayın, is gerizekalı. I mean, sorry. Yeah. All right. Number 4. Now, this is an interesting one. Look at the question. Do you remember it? Now, there's a very important word there in the first line, directly impact. Okay. Designing engaging lessons, students collaborate, they solve problems, and ask the students to be creative. All right. Show me a thumbs up if you agree with that. I'm just going to have a quick scroll down. Come on, give me a few thumbs up. Awesome. I've got a thumb up there. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Nobody else? No? Ah, Yeliz, you've got, oh yeah, Yeliz, I can see yours there. It's a big cartoon thumb. Well done. I didn't see it first of all. All right. My answer? I totally disagree. And if you disagree with me, I'll explain why a little bit later. Okay. And question number 5. This is where we touch on technology a little bit. Using a wider range of apps and software in our remote classrooms. Now, the key word always has a direct positive impact on student motivation levels. How many of you totally agreed with that? Come on, wave your hands if you totally agreed with it. No. So we've got no technology junkies. Yeah. Did anybody totally disagree with it? Yeah. Nurdi, you're nodding your head. I can see you nodding, Nurdi. Yeah. Well done. And a thumb up too. Yeah. All right. My answer, which inshallah I will justify later, and if I don't justify, I disagree. I don't totally disagree, because it depends on the student and depends on the teacher, but largely just having technology doesn't have a direct positive impact. Yeah. Some teachers hate technology. Some students hate technology, or they get confused by it. Yeah. Okay. Now, it would have been great if we'd had our survey and we got some data behind it, and we could have all published a journal article together with 98 names and got credit for it, but we can't. Never mind, Bosch Fair. Let's go on. One of my favorite hacks. Now, I love this idea of hacking at the moment, because it's linked to technology, but a hack is kind of like a modern tip, you know, a modern idea, a hint. And you can see what I sort of did here. It's an engagement one, yeah, which is the idea of using polls or surveys when they work. When they work is a great way to get our students active at the very beginning of a class. Yeah. So what it is the survey itself, yeah, is interactive, and students are inputting their own choices there, and we can use those choices in a discussion about the differences in the results as we go through. Now, as I was sort of saying, I was able to do it directly in Zoom. Yeah. If you're kind of using Google Classroom or Google Meet, or you're using MS Teams, there is a way of doing it, but it's a little bit more complicated. Zoom is about the best one for the direct survey. And so what a lot of people who've been using Google Classroom and Google Meet have been doing, and Teams, yeah, they've been using Padlet, yeah, which is a lovely poll maker, but it doesn't only stop there. It allows you to answer open-ended questions. It allows students to brainstorm at the same time. So it serves the same kind of function. Students are very active at the beginning, and then we can sort of use it as we go through. Another one that you might have heard. Remember, with all of these, I'll give you a copy of everything with all the links and everything in there. They're all hot links, so it'll take you directly to the site. Another one is this one, Mentimeter. Yeah, how many of you have been using Mentimeter in the past 6 to 8 months? Hilal, yeah, I saw your thumb go up. I know it just poked up a little bit and went down very quickly, but I saw it, Hilal. Yeah. Mentimeter. Now, Mentimeter it's a little bit more fun, actually, because you can do a lot more with Mentimeter, and you can use it as a basis, yeah, for doing your presentations and allowing you to keep survey data for a longer time. So you can use it as feedback to track how your students are doing as well. Yeah, and it's very sexy. Yeah, so I mean, definitely that's an option there. But as a basic tool, you know, Zoom is pretty good. You know, no problem there. Okay, let's come back then. Yeah, motivation. Now this is where I'm going to ask or invite some of you to speak. Çünkü yoruldum biraz. And let's have a look. It's like that quiz game. If this is the answer, what's the question? Any ideas? $50 if you speak and give me the correct answer. Wallahi billahi, I'm not from Kayseri. I will pay you $50. Anybody? Just open your microphone and shout the answer. If this is the answer, motivation.
What's the one thing we should neglect during teaching?
Ah, excellent try, Hojam, but totally wrong.
Okay, at least I tried.
At least you tried. I really like that. In fact, I'll send you $1 just for trying. Tamam mı hocam? Yeah? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Anybody else? What's the question? Anybody else? I can hear somebody. No? Hocam?
Sibel Türkoğlu Hoca says, what do the teachers need?
Oh, Hojam. Wallahi billahi, that is so true. And I want to give you the money, but it's not the question I have. But it is. Yeah, it is. What do teachers need? Yeah. In fact, I mean, this is one of the issues we've got. Yeah. In fact, I'll show you. Yeah. It's this one. What's the biggest problem in education in Canım Türkiye'm today? Yeah. And I seriously believe that it is motivation. It's student motivation, but it's also teacher motivation at the same time. That's a major issue. This is where, with teachers, the issue of burnout comes from. It actually comes from there, you know, because of a lack of motivation. When you've got a great deal of motivation, you can usually survive burnout a little bit better. But when your motivation has just been flattened, you know, you start to think about going to Istanbul and jumping off the Bosphorus Bridge. In terms of students, we get situations like this. All of our students start looking like this. And what's going through their head is this little word. Yeah, even if they love you, yeah, there's still that lack of motivation. And we can see this. A few years ago, I came across this statistic. Yeah, 40% of high school students are chronically disengaged. That means 40% of them hate school. They think everything about it is boring and awful. Okay, do you think that number is higher or lower today than when I found this original source? Give me a thumbs up if you think it's higher. Give me a thumbs down if you think it's lower. Okay. Mm-hmm. Most researchers think it's higher. Most researchers think it's higher. And it's not just in Turkey. Yeah, not just in Turkey at all. This is a global situation that we're facing. Okay. Gurkan, I love that one. As high as Everest. Definitely higher. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, interesting thing for us to think about is when our sevgili amcam, Mr. COVID, came to visit us, yeah, what was his effect on motivation when we had to start remote teaching? Yeah, was it a positive impact or a negative impact? Yeah, let me ask you a quick question. And just write your answer in the chat box. Just say yes or no. Sibel, that was very fast. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of, you know, working in a remote classroom with a lot more technology, yeah, this is a sign of exactly the same situation: boredom, kids switching off, not wanting to be there. Yeah. And I've actually seen teachers doing it as well when we've been in meetings. Yeah. If anybody does it now, I will come and find you. Yeah. Aydan Hoca has given me all your addresses and I'm tracking your IPs right now. Yeah. Actually, on my Facebook page today, try and find it. I posted a couple of things where there's a couple of hints to try and stop this. So maybe you could go and have a look at that as well. Yeah. All right. All right. So that's where we are. So I think we need to eat a little bit of fasulye now. Yeah. Let's sort of getting into things. And maybe, yeah, maybe I can explain a few of the ideas I had about motivation earlier on. Yeah. I think it's become apparent that there are some very new realities that we're facing because of the emergency remote teaching things. And I'd go as far as to say they have now become facts of teaching and learning across the world. Yeah. One of the most important elements of this that sometimes we forget, yeah, when we started to do, we were all very worried. Allah, what's a platform? How many platforms are there? Oh, what's a tool? What's a widget? What's the difference? I want to do reflective journals. Is there an online tool for this? We didn't know. But I think equally, our students didn't have experience of serious online learning. They might be great at making TikTok videos, but they don't know how to use these platforms and they don't know how to use the tools. And I think that contributes to a lot of the boredom that they face, because you know what kids are like when they're unclear, when they're uncertain, especially if they're teenagers, they switch off, you know. And a lot of people have recognized this, that many of the problems we had, especially at the beginning, was not because teachers were lazy and weren't preparing lessons. No, teachers were working amazingly hard. It wasn't because the technology failed. It wasn't the technology worked. It was because students were not ready. They weren't, how can I say, they weren't part of the online learning culture where they have certain behaviors, they know what to do, the way they share, things that they sort of do. They don't troll other people, they don't use bad language, you know, just that kind of culture that's there. Students didn't have it either, yeah? And a lot of them still haven't got it as well. It can take a while, especially in kids, yeah? Okay, another fact, and this has been widely acknowledged. I can't say, look, this is hard and fast research, because many of these things are only just being researched at the moment. But generally, if we look at professional commentators who are talking about things and schools, yeah, a major fact was this one, that we actually had quite a big crisis in curriculum, because what we started to do is we started to use lots of technology, but we didn't change the curriculum. So basically we were expecting teachers, you know, to do the same amount of curriculum, yeah, in an online class. İmkanı yok. Some studies have suggested that we have to plan, we can only plan half, yani 50% of what we would do in a face-to-face class and be able to complete it. Yeah, that's a huge difference. So now when we talk about learning loss, we can kind of get it. Yeah, student language learning hasn't been increasing at the same level as it did 2 years ago, because we're trying to squeeze the same curriculum into an online program that takes twice as long to consolidate. Now, again, the impact that has on teacher motivation, yeah, and teacher stress levels is ridiculous. we cannot expect teachers to do the same curriculum. That curriculum has to be adapted. It has to be modified in some way if you're not modifying the time. That's the big issue. Yeah, most places didn't modify their curriculum. Yeah. Okay, and number three is the one I've been very interested in, and I've been monitoring lots of different countries, and the consensus seems to be this one. Motivation was always important, yeah, but now, because of the remote learning situation, it's become just as important as the content, sometimes more, yeah? Focusing on student motivation is more important than teaching English sometimes. But I would suggest here that we've got the wrong focus. Student motivation. Student motivation is the problem. But we var yani. Okay. Now, I don't get this because when I look at kids playing with computers and doing stuff, I see them like this. You know, this is how kids respond to computers. I've got my daughter in the next room, and she's playing these online games with friends in different parts of the world. And sometimes I've got to go in and say, Janam, will you shut up, please? I'm doing a webinar. Because she's laughing and joking and now the problem is, yeah, the problem is I'm looking at what all the big companies are saying about technology and education. Oh, it's wonderful. It's the way of the future. We must do it. You know, it's so motivating. Not just the big three boys or girls. I won't be sexist. Yeah, but even all the little boys and girls, all those little companies, yeah, that are coming up with new apps and new bits of software. I mean, if you look at those, you probably use a few of them right now. Yeah, but like many teachers, especially if they're working in middle school, high school, or in a hazard situation, you know, this is what we've got. And it does raise this question. Why? Yeah, why has an increased use of remote teaching, yeah, especially over March and May, the first 3 months, the first 4 months, led to more, even more demotivated English language learners? Neden yani? Neden acaba? Would anybody like to share their ideas with us? Remember, there's no correct answer. Yeah. Thank you, Aysun. I think I'm right too. Curriculum is so important. Anybody like to share their ideas? Come on, speak to me. I'm feeling lonely.
I think teaching became more teacher-centered when teachers are sitting in front of their screens and they do not have the competence to engage their students, involve their students actively in the learning process. So it's more like even more teacher-centered today,
Yeah.
which bores students to death.
Totally. Especially students who've been used to, yeah, a more communicative teacher. And I've actually had very good teachers, very good face-to-face teachers who say, yeah, Tony Hojam, I'm starting to teach like my teacher from 50 years ago. You know, I'm just becoming such a teacher-centered teacher, but I know when I'm in the classroom, I'm so student-centered. I really do communicative things. No, Pajam. And this is where I say, go to Istanbul, find the Bosphorus Bridge, and jumble fit. No, Nurdi, I don't say that. Vallahi billahi, I don't say that. Yeah. Okay. Hocam, good point. That's one thing. Anybody else? I can see a couple coming through. Is that because you're a bit shy? Ha. Sagar. Sagar.
Gök hocam says remote learning does not even come close to face-to-face learning in any quality.
I'd say yes at the moment, but there are a couple of teachers who managed to get it right. Yeah, and that's interesting. Yeah, Sagar, is it Sagar? Yeah,
It is Sagar, yes.
Okay. Okay. You wanted to add a point.
You know, what I wanted to say is that I feel the reason is because, you know, as much as we try to make it real, the connection is not real. You know, for me, the challenge was even, you know, like more challenging because it was my first year in this school. I have never met anybody.
Sure.
And although I tried to look at the camera, trying to be energetic, but still, they haven't met me, for God's sake. It was so difficult. You know, that's where the connection is not real as much as we try to make it.
Sure. And it's very difficult to build that trust.
Exactly.
Or to show them that you care. Yeah, which is so important. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I know some very positive, loving, caring teachers, but for some reason, they just can't communicate that through a laptop. You know, they're great people. You see them face to face in a classroom, wonderful teachers, but it doesn't come through, you know, and that's can be a problem. Yeah. Thanks, Saha. Yeah, that's great. All right. Mohammed, I saw your point. Designing online-based activities or content and the educational strategy are crucial. Yes. And let's be honest, very few teachers, you know, have been specifically trained to develop those kind of materials. Usually you would do an MA in ed tech, you know, and you'd be able to do that, or, you know, an MSc in instructional design using, you know, learning models, you know, I mean, something like that. Most people don't do it. Yeah. Esra, students don't like to take responsibility. Yes. It's very easy for them to hide, isn't it? Yeah. I know some students, they blow up a balloon, yeah, stick a photocopy of their face on it, you know, go, just it bobs around on the table. Or, like we said, they just mute their camera. Yeah. All right. Chidem, you've got one. Maybe you're right, but our manager said even no educative games in the classroom. How can, oh my God, Chidem, wallahi billahi, is your boss on here with you right now? Yes or no? Is your manager, just give me a yes or a no, Chidem, the teacher. Wallahi, I don't know your surname, yeah? Thank you, Sibel. Read Sibel's answer. Yeah, that's what I get. Yeah, especially with young kids. I mean, also high school kids, Hazala kids. You know, games are good. Yeah, we'll come back to games a little bit later. Yeah. All right.
Anthony, Duygu Kayhan hocam also says, plus parents are involved in the process, I guess, meaning negatively.
Yes, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of primary teachers. I've worked with quite a lot of them. And one of their biggest complaints is the parents sit in the classroom. You know, they give their children the answers. And I go, oh my God, you know, forget students having an online learning culture. What about the parents? I mean, come on, yeah. All right. Okay, let's just push on because I'm going to make you eat lots of fasulya today. Inshallah, this will be protein filling you up, you know, and you can do something with it. Now, all right, this one is a head-blowing question. Yeah. Now, if you know me and you've seen some of my sessions before, you know that lots of participants will say this, oh, Tony, don't make my head hurt. Don't make my brain explode. But it's important. Question here. What do you think? Can a teacher really motivate a student to learn? If a student really doesn't want to learn, can you motivate them? Okay, Mukade, you've said absolutely yes. Ah, Shania said absolutely no. Merhaba, yes, but for a short period of time. Okay, a little maybe, a big no to that question. Gurkan, I love your turn of phrase. Yeah? Okay, to some extent, not totally. All right. I actually said to you before, I said, no, yeah, teachers cannot motivate students. Yeah, and some of you have got there. Yeah. Motivation is a fire. Sometimes it's a small fire, sometimes it's a big fire inside a human being. Yeah. And I love the way Stephen Covey, who I love actually, he qualifies it. If someone tries to light that fire, it will burn very briefly. Yani, motivation, yeah, is not something that comes from the outside. Motivation is internal. Allah Allah. And this brings us to our first big puf noktası. Now, I've been learning Turkish for almost 35 years now, and I can never say this word correctly. Sometimes I say puf noktası and I get in trouble. Yeah, people say I'm being horrible to the gay community. I'm not. Yeah, puf noktası. I just can't say it. Yeah, but the big puf noktası is this one. And what we're going to do with it, it's a myth. There is a myth about this. And the myth is this one. There is no such thing as extrinsic motivation. This was an idea, a theory created in the 1950s. And it was never proven. Theory. All motivation is intrinsic. And this is what's important, varies from person to person. Now, a lot of people struggle with this because we've been brought up with the idea of intrinsic and extrinsic, blah, blah, blah, blah, blah, you know, and we've been taught to analyze something in that way. Okay, let's take an example, yeah? Money. Everybody uses the example of money as the best example of extrinsic motivation. Okay, now let me have a look. Mr. Kimas. Mr. Kimas, hi. I want to speak to you.
Hi, my teacher.
All right, Mr. Kimas, yani, on Monday, I have to teach my class 5B. Allah, everybody's taught 5B, dime? Yeah, they are a terrible class, and I can't face it, yeah? Wallahi billahi, if you take my first class, I will pay you this money, 300 Turkish lira. Will you do that? Will you do it for me?
It is not possible.
It's not possible. Near 3,000, I got 300 lira is pretty good. Neden?
We don't need any money.
30 teachers who hate money. I hate you all. Yeah. Okay.
Well, if he doesn't, I will. I need money. I need money urgently.
No, but this is an important point. Some teachers might have said yes. Yeah. But Mr. Kimas, yeah, said no. Yeah. So the best extrinsic motivator didn't work for him. Now, it might work for somebody else. Let me try somebody else. Nurdi. Nurdi hocam. 300 lira kazanmak ister misin? Pazartesi sabahı.
No. No, thanks.
Allah. Wallahi, your salaries must be really good. Okay. Okay. Now here we found two people. Now we might find somebody, I won't ask anybody else, who says, yeah, Tony, I'll do it for you. Yeah. But that's not because I was successful with money. That's because they either love money or they need money. It's not real motivation. Yeah. It's because internally they need something or they love something. It's intrinsic. Yeah. And so when we get to that idea of the truth, people have been telling us for years, certainly since the 1950s, it's all about extrinsic and intrinsic. I just go, oh, hang on. Yemezler. That's an old idea. Its time has gone. Yeah. Research is a lot more effective these days. Now, this is also linked to puf noktası 1b. Now, puf noktası 1b, yeah, is also a kind of claim that people make. They sort of say, you can motivate other people, like your students. Therefore, it's your job. Or other people can motivate you, like your director or your principal or your wife. Yeah, my wife and I at the moment, we're buying a new car. Yeah, and my wife wanted an Audi. There is no way my wife can motivate me to spend 500,000 more on a car we don't need. It's impossible, you know, absolutely impossible. So this logic is really quite flawed logic. That's the bottom line. And so when it comes to us as teachers, you know, often we ask questions about motivation. Can I use motivation to break the monotony of the classroom? You know, can I stop the level of boredom? Yeah. Or usually at the beginning of the year, especially if you're going to be teaching 5B, or 5B are a terrible class. I don't know if you've ever taught them. How can I motivate my students this term? They're terrible. Or after a while, every Sunday when you're planning your lessons, Allah, how can I motivate my students tomorrow morning? My answer is simple. These are the wrong questions because they're not logical. It's coming. Another question. All right, let's try this one. And I want someone to give me the answer orally. Okay. Sahar, is it a quick question about something that we talked about? Or maybe a question we can save until the end?
My teacher, we may focus on our teaching techniques.
This one's coming up in a moment. It's coming up in a moment. So focusing on our techniques, yeah, definitely. Maybe review our techniques. Which ones are working, which ones are not working so well. Yeah, that's one. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that in a moment. Anybody else?
Attract their attention, find something that is interesting for them.
Okay. So we can't motivate, but if we can find something interesting, Yeah, maybe that can catch them and that will increase their natural motivation. Good.
Having fun.
Having fun. Ah, that's always an interesting factor. Yeah, fun. Yeah, we'll come and look at that one in a bit as well, because that is an interesting one. Bribe them, give them bribes. If you complete your exercises, I'll give you chocolate. If you do your homework, I will give you yılbaşı candy. It works, but is it ethical? Do we want to bring up children like that? Okay, I think we're getting there with the points we've got. And this is where it comes to puf noktası 2. Now with puf noktası 2, this is a positive one. Yeah, and the positive one is this. And this is very important. Stop worrying and stressing about motivating your students, because puf noktası 1A and puf noktası 1B show you that you can't do it. Not directly. You cannot directly motivate anybody. Yeah. Remember what we said? You cannot motivate anybody, and no one can motivate you. They can bully you, they can bribe you with promises, yeah, but that's not motivation, you know? Even if somebody had taken my 300 lira, once they had taught 5B and seen how awful they were, and I asked them again, they say, okay, I'll do it again, but this time for 600 lira. Yeah? Okay. So let's come back to this one. What should we be focusing on in the classroom? We've almost got there. Almost got there. It's just somebody hasn't just said the word. I'm looking for one word, and it's $100 word. If you give me the answer now. Too late. I'm giving you the clue.
Inspire.
Inspire. No, it's linked very much to this one. Okay. As teachers, we do not create learning. Students create learning. What we do, what our job is we create the conditions in which students learn. So if we create good conditions, the motivation level in students can go up. Not always, but can go up. And so when we look at those things, we can try and get ideas. Yeah, we can try and get ideas. Some of you know I'm a big fan of blogs, you know, and I was looking at some blog posts, maybe see if I could steal some ideas for you. Tell you they were my ideas, but I stole them from somewhere else. Yeah. And I came across this, I thought, 15 ways to motivate yourself and others. All right. And then I found this one. Allah, 101 ways. It doesn't stop. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But then I look at the advice that they give me, you know, and they give me cookie cutter advice like this. Be a coach, not a critic. Yeah, excuse me, it's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help me in my classroom. It certainly doesn't help me. Look at this one. Be part of the solution. I hate that one. My old boss used to say this to me, and I wanted to punch him in the throat, you know? Other ones, you know, we can see some of these. Look at the last one. Change your thoughts to change your feelings. What a pile of crap. And what about that top one? Yeah? Change the frame to change the game. Ne demek yani? Bu gerçekten. Ne diyorlar burada? Ne anlama geliyor? Yani, am I going to leave teaching and start to play football again after 30 years? What a lot of rubbish. So what does Tony Hodges say? He says, Yemezler. We're not doing these blogs are stupid. But what is important is listening to very good teachers with lots of very good experience. This woman, I love her to bits. Sadly, she died a few years ago. Yeah. Anybody remember her name? Yeah. Rita Pearson. Now, Rita Pearson doesn't work for the company Pearson. She is not owned by the company Pearson. The spelling's not even the same. Yeah. But she did some great TED Talks. Yeah. And I just love this quote because it gets to the heart of what some of you were hinting at before. Yeah. Kids don't learn from people they don't like. Yani, teaching and learning is a people business. Yeah. You might have seen this quote or a form of it. I quite like this one. Yeah. If students think you don't care about them, they don't care about you. Doesn't matter how many masters or PhDs you've got, they don't care. All right. So you can see both in a face-to-face situation and in an online situation, it's extremely important to have these ideas which can help you show that you care and build trust. Yeah. Very, very basic one. Learning student names on day one. Yeah. Now, I've heard from a lot of teachers that this has become much more difficult in a remote classroom than it is face-to-face. There is less to help you remember. So you've got to come up with a system, name tags. Yeah. Okay. Put on the screen, put on their cameras to come up with them. Other things, caring about your students, having little one-on-ones with them. Like with some of you, I've asked you to participate with me. I've used your name. You know, I'm trying to make some of you feel special, you know. Inshallah, you know I care about you. Okay? Being fair is so important. The number one complaint by most students about their teacher is that the teacher is not fair. Yeah? So these are all the basics. But if we come down and we say, okay, what about the remote learning environment? What's the best way to connect with our kids in a remote learning environment? Give me some ideas in the chat box. It doesn't have to be, you know, long sentences, just a quick idea. What have you done to connect with your students? Using effective web tools. How Mohammed, to help you share information? Yeah. WhatsApp, yeah, keeping in touch with people. Learning about the games they play. Okay. All right. Zoom meetings just to chat about life. Okay, Gurkan. Ask them to show something they like. So a lot of personalization, taking an interest in what they've got. Yeah. Definitely the Zoom meetings help because at least we can see each other, but it's still difficult. Ah, Fatma, enthusiasm, definitely. Yeah. Laughing together, being yourself, totally. Being yourself, Yeliz, is so important because students can smell it a mile away if they think you're being fake. Yeah. Sharing true stories, having fun. Excellent. Yeah. So we can see making sure we build all of those things into what we're doing so we can get those special connections. Yeah. Again, there hasn't been, there hasn't been a lot of research on this, but a couple of things have been shown, making sure that you do a one-on-one video check with every student every week. Now, there are some timetabling issues there, and I know sometimes we just have too many classes, but this one actually has been proven to be the best one to ensure that that connection goes on. It's one-on-one, it's person to person. You can listen to them, they can listen to you, you can give them advice, you can give them feedback. All right. If you can't do it one-on-one, sometimes maybe you can do it in a mini group. So you get 3 or 4 students together and you talk to the group, sharing ideas that way. Or other people have said, just having town hall gatherings. So regular evaluations. What's working? What isn't working? We tried that in that lesson. How was it? Was it easy? Did you struggle? So definitely having those kind of things where we don't worry about teaching. We focus on what people are thinking and feeling. And as I said, number 1 was by far the most important one for connectivity. Some people have actually said using the phone as well. With that, we just have to be a little bit careful that the school is happy with you doing that and that parents are happy with you doing that as well. That's important. We don't want to cross any lines that maybe upset people. All right. Now, taking that a step further, I don't think we always have to look for the latest research from remote classrooms. I think there's some really good stuff already out there that we can just apply. Now, one of my favorite books, on motivation is this one. Look at the title. You can see why I love it. From Alan Mendler. Now, Alan Mendler, he's been teaching about the same time I have, 33, 34 years. And he has a reputation for being a very caring teacher who is very good at working with demotivated students. So what he did when he retired, he decided to write this book, but he didn't just write his own ideas. He found lots of teachers who were very similar to him. They had this reputation for being good at helping demotivated students become more successful. It's a very thin book, very easy to read, very practical ideas in it. One of the quotes I loved is this one. Motivation is not about bags of tricks or playing games or activity-based teaching or cracking jokes or distracting the kids. These are all short-term solutions that don't work in the long term. What he saw is he isolated a number of factors that were very common to all of these teachers. And we've mentioned a couple: being real, expressing enthusiasm, being enthusiastic, respecting students, extremely important, creating hope, telling students, if you work a little bit harder, you'll get there. I had a maths teacher who used to say, Tony, geri zekalısın, you'll never do anything with maths. My first degree was mathematics and economics. No. Okay. Emphasizing effort, not saying how beautiful and talented you are, but wow, I really saw you get better in that vocabulary work because you've been doing so much reading. You've been spending hours revising those things. So there were those things, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a face-to-face classroom, or whether you're in a remote classroom. These ones are just there, okay? And that leads us to puf noktası 3, okay? Now this is a positive thing. We must do this. Start with the relationship. Boş ver teaching English on day 1. Perhaps even boş ver teaching English on day 2. You know, focus on stuff that's going to build your relationship. Stuff that is going to help you connect, get to know each other, and indirectly teach some English. That's what we've got. Because our job, yeah, is this. If we can do this, we're 50% there. Wallahi billahi. You can take that to the bank. Okay, I come back to the question again, and it's still there. For $100, $100 without the clue. Sorry, nobody gets the $100. The clue is in Rebecca's quote. Allah, Allah. If we can't motivate anybody, the only thing that's left is engage. And with engage, that is something that I, as a teacher, have direct control of. I have no direct control over a student motivation, over a student's motivation, but I do have some direct control over the engagement that my lesson produces. Because engagement makes people do things. Yeah, it makes people do things. It gets you hooked, like Aydan Hoca said. If we choose a topic that students are really interested in, students start asking questions. They start sharing what they know. You know, they want to work together. They'll go home and they'll study on the internet for hours to get more, so that when they come back in the morning, they can share more, you know, because that's what engagement does. It's the seed that grows into the fire of motivation, yeah? And if we start to plan with a focus on engagement, yeah, then we've got a bigger chance of the motivation growing in students. And if you look, a lot of those things are directly things that we want in our students. And we have direct control over many of these things by how we design our lessons. Now, most of us know it's not rocket science. Student engagement is not rocket science. Yeah, the basic principles are there. Exploit curiosity. Yeah, let students discover. Ask students to create something new. And especially in language learning, students have to collaborate. They have to have fun, and they have to do communicative practice, which can be a bit of a problem sometimes in remote classrooms. But for language teachers, these are important, okay? They're the basics. If we want, because we read and we know stuff and we've studied, we add a little bit of sauce. And all of those elements mixed together make for very sexy lessons. That's the bottom line. Okay. Herhalde yani, I don't tell my students this is a sexy lesson. Yeah, 6-year-olds get very upset at that. Yeah, but I can tell you. Yeah? So we can see how me adding some of these elements in the pot, I can start to design better learning opportunities. I can start to design more collaborative learning opportunities where students have a choice. Because when they have a choice, yeah, they're more invested, they take more responsibility, okay? I get them to take more risks because that's fun. In the classroom, they're safe. If they mess up in the classroom, nothing's gonna happen, yeah? But we make sure we laugh with each other, not at each other. That's what I mean by a safe environment. We do self-assessment, yeah, so that people start to grow in their confidence and their ability to self-assess. Yeah, one of the top factors, yeah, which affects, yeah, student success. Yeah, I ask lots of questions. I don't spoon feed them. I'm asking them questions, getting them to think. Yeah, that is the basic recipe for engagement. Yeah. And so we come to puffnokta dirt. Now you're asking yourself, Tony, how many puffnokta have we got here today? This one, responsibility for motivating students. Now you can probably guess what I'm going to say. There's another myth here. It should be a central responsibility and concern for all teachers to keep students' motivation high. No, no, rubbish. Yeah, I will be accountable, yeah, for the quality of engagement that I build into my class. I will be accountable for the quality of lessons that I develop. I cannot be accountable for whether my students are motivated or not. I can't do that, you know. I can try my best to create a positive environment, yeah, but a central responsibility, I think we can reword that a little bit better. Our central responsibilities, because we have control over these areas, are designing learning opportunities, designing lessons and activities that are engaging, okay? Track students' performance. Don't just leave them there. See how well they're performing and give them the best feedback I can to help them grow and get better. For me, this is much more doable and is a far more sensible approach to helping students with their own motivation. But bir aması var. It's not always easy to design really engaging lessons, even when we've got lots of good tools to use. You know, a lot of textbooks are very good, but before I asked you to tell the truth, now I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah, we know as teachers that this approach is never going to be engaging, not in a face-to-face classroom. And if we do this in a remote classroom, mute the cameras, yeah, mute the mics. It works even less in a remote classroom. It just is not a sensible approach to take. Yeah, most of us know, and actually maybe I'm talking to the wrong people. You're coming here on a Friday night to a seminar, yeah, about this stuff. You're interested in learning. All those people who are not here should be the ones that are listening to this. We know a better approach is this one. Oh, my book's not great. How can I make those activities sexier? How can I make them more interesting? Yeah, you think about your students. All right, how do they prefer to learn? How do they learn best? Because you've got information from them. Yeah, you say, okay, I've got this boring stuff to do, but how could I do it using authentic materials, maybe videos? How could I make a game, you know, to make it interesting, make it a bit more fun? Yeah, teachers, good teachers will think like this. And then how can you push them? How can I get them to search for new ideas? How can I get them to reflect? Okay, this is how an effective teacher will put together a lesson. Yeah, whether it's face-to-face or online. All right. And so far, we haven't got onto technology. Are we getting onto technology? I think we are. Motivation technology. Smartphones. Oh, I'm always motivated when I have a new smartphone. Oh, apps. I love apps. I have got so many apps. I feel like they're my girlfriends. I love webware. In fact, I found a new piece of webware today. And if that webware was a woman and I was single, I would marry this webware. It was so wonderful. Yeah. All right. Obviously, if we sort of do this, let's just start off with a couple of the puf noktalara that we looked at before. Does technology help us build relationships and make our lessons and activities more engaging? Haydi bakalım. In the chat box, just give me a yes or no. Oh, yellows, yes, yes, yes. Oh, no, Ur said no. Just more engaging. Yes, yes, yes, yes, yes. I just want to see what you say before I tear it all down. No, I wouldn't do that. It can. Merhaba. I like that answer. Yeah. Esra, are you a diplomat? Okay. All right. I think what we've kind of got going on here is, if we think back to that slide that I showed before, the key element here, key element here is that one, fun, because we didn't highlight it. In language teaching, we know it's important. We do know it's important. If we don't have any fun in a language learning class, students are not going to like it. We know this. Yeah? If they're studying nuclear physics, I kind of get it. You know, nobody expects to have a laugh about nuclear bombs. You know, it's not going to happen. But in a language class, I'd like to have a laugh. Yeah. But this actually is a bit of a two-edged sword. Yeah. It can give us a bit of a problem, because fun is a very serious business, especially when we're looking at the various tools that we've got. Yeah. And having a look at using them in a remote classroom. And if we think about it, we've not had a lot of choice. We've had to use more and more of these tools now. But, and this is where we have the yes, but the no. We have to ask ourselves a serious question. What are we thinking like? For example, I can look at these tools here and I can divide them up. I can see the two here, Mentimeter and Padlet. Okay, they're a survey tool. I can do polls and brainstorming, yeah. The top ones, they're really quiz making tools. So I can do tests, I can do quizzes. And then the other ones, Prezi, PowerPoint, they're presentations, so I can give students information. But the problem there is I stopped thinking about teaching and I'm thinking about, which one is more fun? You know, and that's not how we want to approach it. Yeah. Tell me the truth. Has anybody thought about that question? Yalan söyleme. I have. I'll be honest, I have. You know, I've had no time. I haven't been able to prepare anything really good. And I thought, oh my God, I've got 15 minutes left. Boom, let's just have some fun. I'll be honest, yeah? But that's not how I think normally, yeah? Because if I take this approach, I'm totally taking the wrong approach to technology. What I'm doing is I'm going technology first. Learning, maybe. Maybe. Whereas if I change my question, those teachers that we talked about before, these effective teachers, which question do you think they ask most of the time when they're planning about designing lessons and using technology? They do this one. Because what they're doing is they're getting technology right. Learning comes first, technology comes second. If technology is going to increase the chances of improving the learning. Does that make sense? Yeah? I can see a few heads. Yeah? Okay. So let's go on. Let's have a look here. I mean, in a way, this
Tony,
is how
I'm sorry, we're running out of time. Can you please wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm nearly there.
We can have some time for the audience to ask some questions.
No, too late. Nobody's volunteering to speak, so I'm speaking. Okay, yeah. All right. Have a look at this one. As teachers, we know we want to teach a new grammar point. We want to prepare. We want students to prepare a reflective video. We want to do a quick warm-up. We're always thinking about the teaching and learning process first. And then what we'll do is, okay, I can use some of these apps. Yeah. These apps and these tools help me teach a new grammar point. Yeah. The same with, I want to do a quick quiz. We can use polling, we can use Kahoot, we can use hot potatoes, however it goes. Yeah, that's one thing that we can do. Let's have a look at another one. I want my students to prepare a reflective video. Seesaw, Flipgrid, great tools for doing that. Yeah. Also, I want my students to give me feedback. We've tried a new kind of lesson. Okay, what can I do? I can use Mentimeter. I can use Socrative. I can even use SurveyMonkey. Yeah. So that's the process. I'm thinking first about teaching and learning, and then I'm looking at the apps that come through. That's the process that we've got. Very good process. But quick question. What's the problem with that? What's the problem with that approach? Any ideas? Just switch on your mic and shout out an answer. Look at the second part, especially more mature teachers. Oh, I can hear somebody. Saha, yeah? I saw your hand up. No?
No, it wasn't me, but I think it's not always easy for everybody, especially as you said, mature people, to get to know all this technology, get them work, and how to get to connect them with their lessons. And I think that would be sometimes difficult.
Absolutely. And that's the bottom line. Yeah. Especially when it's an emergency. There were lots of us. Yeah. There were lots of us that didn't know lots of things when COVID hit us. Yeah. Some of us didn't know what kind of platforms there were, very few people had heard about Zoom. Yeah. All right. But we learned them. And we learned that there were platforms and there were different types of platforms. Yeah. All right. But what we've got here, they're not really learning platforms. That's the thing that we've got. They're business tools. They were developed for businesses originally. The platform is not where the learning happens. Yeah. The platform, is the basis for all of these apps. Now, all of the apps that I'm showing you here now, these are, well, they have been voted as the most popular apps in the remote classroom for effective teaching and learning. Listen to that. They were voted the most popular and effective apps and webware, yeah, for teaching and learning. Now, obviously, the more we know about these, the better choices we can make. But you can't learn about these overnight. Nobody, not even a super brain. You know, you've got to take your time. Yeah. And one of the things that we can sort of do, and I just want to give you one example before we come in for questions, is obviously with the platform, we need some training. Yeah. But remember what we said right at the very beginning about the facts? Students are also going to need some training as well. Let's not forget that. Okay. With a teacher, if it's the first time they're doing remote teaching, very often they'll use their textbook and they'll do a PowerPoint. Most people kind of know that, yeah? So when we analyze it, how is the teacher planning to promote learning? A student-centered method or a teacher-centered method? If they're using a textbook and a PowerPoint. What do you think? Quick answer. Teacher, student, teacher. Usually they're teacher-centered methods. Yeah, that's typically what a PowerPoint was designed for. Yeah, okay, ask another one. Do you think using a textbook and PowerPoint slides is engaging enough in a remote classroom? Yes or no? Yes? No. No, it really isn't. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons. Yeah, I love Mesoudier. No. All right. And the next question. How will the teacher check understanding and learning? Bilmem, there's nothing there. A textbook, and I think maybe they'll ask some questions, but we don't know. Okay. So then we come on to possibly the most important bit. Is there a tool that makes using a textbook and PowerPoint sexier? Is there a tool? Ajaba, ajaba. Is there a tool that helps teachers gamify, make a game, make it fun, checking student understanding and assessing their learning? Yes. What is it? We can still use our textbook and PowerPoint, but there's a little tool here, Pear Deck. All right. Has anybody used Pear Deck? Anybody use it? Pear Deck is a super tool, yeah, to make your PowerPoint really interactive. Yeah. All right. Because you can import directly from the internet engaging videos, animations, sound files, GIFs. So just visually, you can make it a lot better. But what's more important is you can automatically insert elements of formative assessment. You can teach something, then you can give students a little quiz where they answer some questions. You can ask learning checks to check their understanding. You can give them a mini quiz. At the end, you can give them an exit ticket. You can do those. And you can use all sorts of different formats. So just immediate by using one tool, which is as easy as PowerPoint, yeah, suddenly the interactivity that you can build into your materials goes through the roof. Yeah, I'll send you these links. If you've never used it, they're great links to look at. And the Chrome extensions, have a look at some more of these, because everybody uses Chrome, you know, and they're all so easy to use. They really are. Yeah, 6 must-haves. and 20 really good ideas. They're the ones that we can use as we put in. And then maybe later, once you get to know more apps, you can use more things and you don't have to use Pear Deck. Okay. And that was an idea just showing how we can sort of take it through as we go through there. All right. But is that 100% going to guarantee success? No, it's not. Okay, puf nokta beş. In fact, actually, I'm going to ask you, can you tell me what puf noktası beş is all about? In fact, it's 3 puf noktalara under 5. 5A, 5B, 5C. You tell me. And then we'll hand it over to questions. Just from that little discussion of technology, what are the puf noktalara? $500 for every correct answer. No, Wallahi, you must be very rich. Number 1, learning first, technology second. Number 2, we have to learn more about these things, but they're just tools. Number 3, most of the other priorities are exactly the same. Connecting with kids, building trust, engaging their minds. Yani, the careware, the heartware, and the headware. And puf noktası beş is finished. Hocam, question and answers.
Okay. Someone is trying to say something, I guess. I hear some voice there. Or is it the ghosts haunting us here?
Oh.
Okay. Now, I have a question. Not of you, but of the audience.
Oh, that's okay. Ask the audience. I like that.
I really want to learn why they joined this session. Was it Tony's name that attracted your attention? Was it the title that attracted your attention? What was it? Can you please just write in the chat box?
That's a good question.
What I'm going to say here is, as I can see from the chat box, it is the teacher that attracts the audience, and the title as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet if I had, well, not me, I'm very famous anyways, but let's say Ayşe had the same title, would I get 100 participants? I seriously doubt it. So I guess Tony keeps saying that teachers cannot motivate students. Motivation comes from inside. But teachers do motivate people. You came here and listened to this man for 1.5 hours, for God's sake. He didn't even breathe. My God, I kept sending him messages. He just didn't stop. Because it was Tony. Because you knew that he was fun. I mean, he is fun. He always says something beneficial, important. So I guess teachers are very important. Maybe it's also the personality, and I don't know whether we can change our personality or not, but at least the awareness is important. If we are aware that changing our behavior can somehow I'm so scared of using this word now. Motivate students, please try to change your behavior. Maybe a few jokes. They may not be that much fun, but still, you have watched a living example, someone who is relaxed, who is sharing, laughing, making jokes. They were not very funny, but still, we enjoyed it. Tony, please don't be offended. I know you're oversensitive nowadays.
Oh, Jam, you could never offend me.
Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense to you, Tony?
Yeah. I mean, I was just looking at the answers here. I ignored all of your comments, but I'm reading these ones. No, I think it's important. The point I was making is I wasn't saying the teacher is not important. I believe the teacher is very important. Yeah. But as I was saying is, a teacher doesn't necessarily have a direct impact on the motivation level. I think some of the things that people have said here, like somebody used the word good sense of humor. Tony has a good sense of humor. Somebody used the word he is fun. Somebody also used the word he's authentic. Yeah, and he's not coming across as fake. He's engaging. Which is nice. That's lovely feedback for me to see. But I think that's part of the climate. And for teachers, I think, and I think you put your finger on it, I think it's good for us to try and inspire people to be better students, to be better teachers. But I don't see inspiration, as being the same as motivation. Yeah, the inspiration are the messages that maybe I give out, and like you said, maybe my body language, the way I behave, that creates a positive atmosphere, and that helps people feel good. Yeah. But if, for example, I don't know, maybe one of you has got a big problem at the moment. I mean, touch wood. Naza and I, we've got one of our aunts in hospital. She's very bad with COVID right now. Mm. And it would be very difficult, for me to really enjoy or be motivated by a session when I have that kind of issue. I can do it now, because it's my job, and part of my job is emotional labor. I have to put aside my personal worries, and I will speak to the people who've come to see me, but maybe it wouldn't change my motivation level. That's the point I was making. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your aunt or Nazda's aunt. I hope she recovers soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions or something that you want to say? Because we have only like 10 more minutes left that I need to close the session.
And then we're going out to a disco, yes, Aydan Hocam?
No, we don't have time left for that. The lockdown has already started. No, I guess the lockdown is going to start at 10. So we have only 15 minutes. But we can create our own disco here at home. Why not? Is there any certificate for attending this meeting? No. This is not something that we give certificates for. Sorry. And please follow Inget on Instagram and on Facebook. We have a session on every Friday. Some of them are for young learners. Some of them are for very young learners. Some are general sessions. You can also find the videos of these sessions, provided that the speaker gives permission to publish the video on YouTube, Inget Turkey channel. Well, people just keep thanking you. I thank you very much, Tony. It has always been a pleasure to listen to you, to see you, to be with you. You're the man. You know that.
Oh, thank you very much. And you are the woman.
Well,
Hocam, I've got one. Seyhan asked an interesting question.
what? I missed that.
May I ask, do you get paid? Ha, ha, ha, ha, ha. I do this for the love.
Seyhan
For the
Hocam,
love of sharing.
do not put dirty ideas into speakers' minds. Inget is a charity association. We do not pay and we do not get paid. So that's why I have been asking for the extra money from Tony, but he always ignored me. And by the way, you used my word, inspire. So I want my $100. Okay?
Did you copyright that word?
Well, you used my word. I said that. You didn't accept it. Well, guys, thank you very much. Tony, thank you.
Can I just make one point?
Yeah, sure.
When Aidan sends you...
I will not send them anything, by the way.
Oh, you won't send them?
No, I will share these on Inget pages, because all of these activities, all of these events are to promote our association. Our association's motto is "Together we stand." We want them to be aware of the existence of our association. It's not a new association, has been around since 1995. So we need to get together, be together, stand together. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to send you any individual emails or anything, but I will share these on Inget pages.
Okay. If you look after that section, there are other online ideas, really good webware, really good software that you can sort of look at, really useful for saving you time.
Tony, maybe we can have another session, free, of course, no payment at all.
Tamam hocam. But yeah, all of those ones are there because to be honest, I don't think it's a good idea for people to learn through this. I can show you something that's good, and then basically I say, just like kids do, go and play with it. Yeah. That's the best way to learn. Go to the website, play around with it. If you like it, great, use it. Yeah. If you don't, wash fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks again. Thanks a million. And thank you guys for joining and making this a wonderful event. Hope to see you soon. Take care and bye-bye. Stay safe. Stay at home. Bye-bye.